Thanks for stopping by the channel. Really glad to have you here. Hoping that as you watch that you're encouraged. I hope that you will be challenged. This particular video today is really meant to push people in a particular direction, and that's for standing up for others. So I have a friend. Her name's Lisa Hanson. She's the owner, proprietor, operator of a place called the Interchange Wine and Coffee Bistro in Albert Lea. Some of you have seen my interview with her. Some of you have probably seen some other videos that I did relating to things at the Interchange. Right now, the only video with Lisa that I have up is the interview. She's got some things going on, and things are getting pretty hot for her. And I'm not here to talk about that in particular, but I want to talk about a conversation that I had with Lisa on Thursday, March 11th. It's March 12th now as I shoot this video, but I want to converse with you, if you will, about the conversation I had with Lisa and why it's so important, because I needed to vocalize my thought to Lisa because of what she's going through. And I need to share this with you. And that was really driven home to me by a conversation that I heard Keri Smith and Carter Laren of Unsafe Space having with a comedian out of Canada who they've interviewed before. And, you know, he's not everybody's cup of tea, but he said something that I've been saying for a long time. And it's what I was saying to Lisa last night as I talk to her about situations she finds herself in, and that other people I know are finding themselves in right now. So here's Lisa, a lifelong resident of Freeborn County. She's been a fine, upstanding member of society there. I mean, she's so out of touch with what it means to be a criminal that she doesn't even understand the criminal process, like, at all. And yet here she finds herself. A year ago today, Lisa would not have been a criminal by any stretch of the imagination. And it's my belief that she's still not a criminal. It's my opinion that she still isn't a criminal and shouldn't be considered a criminal. But yet the state of Minnesota is effectively labeling her as such. Now, the reason that this is important is because Lisa, like many others, myself included, hear from people all the time, man, we stand with you. We back you up. We like what you're saying. Yeah, part of the people, you know. And that's encouraging, but it's confusing too, because people like Lisa are hearing things like, hey, we support you. Hey, we're with you. We back you up. We really appreciate what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish. We appreciate how you are respectful and peaceable in how you protest and how you defy what you believe and others believe to be unconstitutional decisions made by Governor Walz of the state of Minnesota. And we really respect that you're willing to take this fight no matter what it costs you. But where are you, people, when Lisa needs you? Where are you? Where are the phone calls? Where are the emails? Where's the support? Where are the people demanding that Lisa be let alone? Where are you? Where are the people of Albert Lea who loved Lisa a year ago? Where are the people of Freeborn County who loved Lisa a year ago? Why is most of her support coming from people that don't live anywhere near her? Now, some people could say, well, we just know something about Lisa that you guys don't know. She's defying the governor. And that's horrible. That's bad. Naughty you, Lisa. Naughty. Shame on you, Lisa Hanson. Shame on you. You people live a far, far, far ways away. And some of you live like an hour away, so you don't have to suffer through what she's doing to our city. She's not doing anything different to Albert Lea than she was doing a year ago. Do you understand that? And see, that's been the problem for most conservative, traditional, patriotic constitutionalists here in Minnesota since we started this whole 2 weeks to flatten the curve fiasco a year ago. So we're coming up on that. I want you to think about that. We're just days away from 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And Governor Walz just announced and magnanimously he's going to allow businesses to go back, restaurants and bars to go back to 75% capacity, and churches and religious gatherings have no limits. Shut up, Walz. You never had the authority to shut down church capacity anyway. And you're just fortunate that most Christians in the state of Minnesota are a bunch of, not sheep in the biblical sense, are just a bunch of blind sheep who are willing to do whatever the government tells them to do because it's for our good. Please save us from ourselves. We can't be trusted. Shut up, Walz. Get out of the business of trying to run churches. And for the churches out there who followed every little tiny dictate that the governor gave you, why? What's wrong with you? Is Tim Walz your Lord and Savior? Did Tim Walz die on the cross for you? Or maybe Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior, and he tells you to gather together even when the government tells you no. He doesn't say, do not forsake the gathering together of yourselves for any reason, unless there's a pandemic and the government tells you you can't. Lord and Savior doesn't tell you that. The scriptures don't say that. The scriptures say, don't forsake the assembling together of yourselves. And I'll admit, I stayed away from church for a long time, but my reasons for staying away from the worship gathering, had nothing to do with being afraid of COVID. It had everything to do with being concerned with how churches are handling this. Church is full of cowards today. The Christianity is full of a bunch of spineless, mindless, unthinking, unreasoning, anti-intellectual cowards who are afraid to stand up and say, you don't get to tell us how many people meet. I did a video where I kind of took John MacArthur to task, like, who am I to take John MacArthur to task? I mean, John MacArthur is a phenomenal teacher, right? Just phenomenal. And there are people out there who disagree with him, and that's fine. But here's the issue. MacArthur said, wait, this might be safe for our people. We're gonna stop meeting. And then he realized it was, COVID, the coof. I didn't use the other word. The coof isn't a sham. It's real. People are catching it. They're getting sick. They're dying. Okay, that happens. But the coof is not serious enough for us to be reacting the way we're reacting. So we're going to reopen Grace Community Church and Grace to You Ministries, and we're going to go back to doing things the way we've been doing them for years. And the city came against them. Eric Garcetti of Los Angeles. The LA County, the city of LA, the state came at Grace Community Church, came at John MacArthur, and they said, we're going to get you. So they took their lease away for a parking lot. They lost that fight too, by the way. That was pretty awesome. So, so Grace Community said no. And they didn't do it disrespectfully. They didn't do it, in a rude way. They just said, no, you don't get to shut us down. We're a church. We don't answer to you. But honestly, even most people who would consider themselves conservative, constitutionalist, patriotic Christians are like just terrified. Spineless people. Spineless. Just spineless. And they're not doing anything. They're not standing up. And when they see somebody who does stand up, that I've seen interactions with people who have observed people without facial coverings in stores, and they're like, yeah, man, you go, you do it. And I'm watching these as an observer, right? And I'm smiling as I'm watching, but I'm going, wait a minute. If you It's, you take the risk for me, man. You do it. You do it. They're like, I support you, and I'll stand here with my face covering on while you walk around without yours, and I'll applaud you until somebody yells at you, and then I'll be like, slink off because I don't want the conflict. So where are you, conservative constitutionalists and patriots, backing up Lisa Hanson of the Interchange in Albert Lee, Minnesota, in Freeborn County? Where are you? Why aren't you arguing for her right to keep her business open, her liberties? Why aren't you arguing for that? Why aren't you demanding that she be left alone? Why aren't you standing up for the other people around you who are suffering for speaking their minds? Where are you? Why are you silently supporting them, but why aren't you yourself standing up and saying enough is enough? Every single one of you should be starting a YouTube channel. And for those of you that don't want to, you should be finding ways to support either financially or vocally and in public, support those people who are being shut down, who are being silenced, who are being told they can't say these things. You can't do this. You can't do that. You should be standing up for them. And as I've said before, and I'll continue to say, and I said this to Lisa last night in our phone call, Lisa and I have to have each other's backs. Because Benjamin Franklin is quoted as saying, and we don't know if this can be verified. Obviously there was no recording of Benjamin Franklin saying this, but it's widely reported, that Benjamin Franklin stood before the men who are the impetus for the starting of the Revolutionary War, for the War of Independence, for the United States, and said, gentlemen, we shall all hang together or we will surely hang apart. Where are you? You need to start taking action. When you find out that somebody is being threatened by radical leftists, when you find out that somebody's lost their job because of their traditional views, and speaking their mind, when you find out that somebody's about to lose everything that they have because they have spoken their mind, and they're daring to defy what they believe to be unconstitutional orders and mandates, and you find out that they're suffering for that, why are you silently applauding behind their back, saying, we got your back, we're standing with you, we support you, instead of being vocal? We need to start boycotting those businesses that are going to destroy the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness for conservative constitutionalists. Could you imagine if a place like Trader Joe's all of a sudden lost all the constitutionalists? See, here's the thing. Leftist Marxists don't generate the income. They drain it from us, and they give it to people who don't spend their money at places like Target, who don't spend their money at places like Hy-Vee. They don't spend their money at places like Trader Joe's. They don't spend their money at places like Nordstrom and Macy's. The leftist Marxists insert into our culture policies and procedures that strip money from us. They take it from hardworking American people, traditionalists. They give it away to other people who go and they spend their money on everything but what saves the economy. And in my opinion, if the traditionalists, if the constitutionalists, if the patriotic types would stand together and say, oh, you're going to do this to so-and-so? Oh, you're going to fire this person? Oh, you're going to silence this person? You're going to actively seek to take away the voice of this person? We're taking our money elsewhere. And while we're at it, instead of spending money at Starbucks, we're going to send the $5 or $10 or $15 we would have spent at Starbucks. We're going to send it to the person that you just silenced. We're going to send it to the person that you just stripped their freedom from, or their freedom of speech from. And if it's a person who holds an elected office who's doing that, that should be big news. And that person should be shut down. Legally and lawfully and respectfully, that person should be shut down. They should either be recalled or drummed out of office, or they should never win another election. Ever. Because they've forgotten who they work for. No, I know people are like, oh, it's appalling that you would, like, but think about what they're doing. Just think about that. People would be appalled at what I'm saying right now, but they're actually advocating that is what happens. And that's what's happening. We need to stand together. We need to hang together, or we're going to hang apart. Maybe not literally, but maybe literally too. One of these days we'll talk about the French Revolution, and we'll juxtapose it to the American Revolution, and we'll see why the American Revolution was what it was and why it led to the greatest republic that has ever graced the face of the earth, and why the French Revolution was a bloody nightmare, literally a bloody nightmare, and what the differences behind the thought process was. But let's put it this way. The French Revolution was a precursor to what we're seeing today. Incorrect thought, any thought that didn't toe the line during the French Revolution led to people being imprisoned in the Bastille and eventually beheaded or bayoneted to death. The guillotine was invented to make executions more efficient for the French Revolution. Are we more advanced than the French people were during the French Revolution? Nope. We're no smarter. We're no more socially and culturally evolved than they were. And we're on the cusp of people holding the wrong views being metaphorically guillotined today. And we need to stand together. So, Albert Lee, Minnesota, get off your asses and stand behind Lisa Hanson. And stand behind every person that supports Lisa Hanson. And if there's somebody in your hometown, Blooming Prairie, Owatonna, Rochester, Spring Valley, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Lakeville, East Grand Forks, stand behind them, support them, pay their legal fees, pay their fines, actively work to keep them going, no matter what it is. And if they lose their job, pay their bills until they can get on their feet again. And if you can't do that, buy them food, take them meals, do something. Do something. Because standing behind someone and clapping and applauding and saying, we support you, we're behind you, it's just words. It's just words. And it doesn't mean anything if you're not willing to put everything that you have on the line to stand up for what you believe in. Until I see that, Christian or not, all I see is a bunch of cowards saying they believe something, but they don't have the spine to back it up. And I don't want to call you friend. And I don't want to call you ally. If you'll abandon the Constitution that fast, because it's a shameful thing to be associated with someone who would dare stand up for the Constitution. You're the problem. You're the one that allowed leftists and Marxists and sellouts to get into office because you were too busy watching out for yourself and not watching out for your neighbors. Shame on you. Until next time, Sic Semper Tyrannis.